What's up, beautiful people? My name is Chadwick Watkins, and on October 29th, 2019, I shared a part of my life that had been held under lock and key starting back in the 1980s, but had roots from my birth in the 1970s. I gave an account of a culture I was surrounded by and raised under, and how culture, that particular church culture, would have me and countless others in a strange juxtaposition between faith and spirituality and a cult-like reverence to a person who preyed on kids for his sexual pleasures, mental and emotional dominance. The thing I came to understand, though, was that it was all about control and power over another human being, especially if you have power over them at a young age. Yes, everyone has things that are unique, about their character, regardless of what their socio or human standing may be at the moment. Some people comply, some fight, some flight, meaning they just remove themselves from the situation, while others are a mixture of the three. I was the latter. More on that in a moment. But I've been asked, and the question has been in the ether, why now? Like, why come forward now? Or when you came forward, which was now back in 2019. Well, January of 2019, I was showering one night, and all of a sudden, I was taken off guard by memories of my past. Like literal exact instances started to flood my memory bank. And I became angry, I became sad, I began to cry. And one of my instincts was to hop on Facebook Live and just basically give a full rant about what had happened in my past. As I was about to press the live button, I had a self-realization moment. That self-realization was that I needed to talk to somebody, because the thoughts, everything that was coming to my mind, it was overwhelming, and I was tripping, like seriously tripping. Like I wanted to fight, like put the paws up, just fight. It was at this point, and at this time actually, that I didn't have any proof that or remember anyone else who had went through the same thing. I could only see or remember what had happened to me. Again, I'll say this, at this time, I don't have any proof that I can remember of anyone going through the same thing that I went through. Neither had it honestly crossed my mind in a way that it would make me really seek it out or seek out the information. I just knew the child in me had unleashed on me, and all these things that had been locked away for a very, very long time. Recently, I've been reading a book by Oprah Winfrey and Dr. Bruce D. Perry. It's called What Happened to You? It's a book that seems to take the approach of what happened versus why are you acting this way? There's a difference. One question seeks information, while the other pseudo places blame on the individual, even if it wasn't unintentional, even if it was unintentional. In the book, they share about what happens when a child or teenager deals with situations that are more than what they have been equipped to deal with at such a time. What happens? The mind blocks out certain memories for the child's safety in order for them to continue to survive while they're in the fire of that circumstance. That statement Woo, it floored me. It floored me and made me reach out to the kid within me even more. I had to be my own friend. And I was coming to the realization, yes, it happened. Yes, Chadwick, you have been in survival mode, and it's just been about surviving. But now you have to do something with these thoughts, my friend. No sooner as this becomes my working knowledge that I needed help to verbally make sense of this, my dear mother suffers on February 23rd from what was called septic shock, which caused all of her vital organisms to shut down. Wow. Did I mention also that at the start of 2019, at the end of 18, but the start of 2019, and my wife and I were making a career transition also from a band that I had led and managed on a day-to-day basis for the better half of almost 10 years. We were going to be leaving the band at the end of the 2019 season. That was already in motion. So you can see now, 2019 was a year of transition. But with my mom in the hospital for almost 2 straight months, she was the only thing on my mind, as it should be. So after taking trips back and forth from and to Atlanta from South Florida, my mother, who was in Atlanta, transitioned on the 2nd of April of 2019. I knew by the start of the summer, actually before that, but definitely at that time, I needed to talk to someone, and I need to talk to someone sooner than later. So I reached out to a staff therapist at my current church, and she introduced me to a woman who's also a therapist who would help me sort out the emotions and the thoughts that I was having. My first and second visit, I talked about, of course, my mom's transitioning, because that was, the prevalent thought in my mind. How am I gonna get through this, And then we also talked about my transitioning from the entertainment company, as I said, I partnered with for almost 10 years, and as a contracted band leader and singer. On the third visit, I believe it was the third visit, after hearing my experiences with molestation and just the overall picture of the time and the space that I was living in, my therapist told me, she said, "Chadwick, I have to tell you something. I've counseled kids who have experienced molestation, other sexual and emotional traumas, including the students who were involved in and those who were victims of the Parkland shooting." She said, "This may sound terrible to you, and this may sound terrible for me to say, but you're not supposed to come out of that. And the only way is if you recognize the manipulation and you freed yourself. You are not supposed to come out of that." I'm going to repeat that. The only way that you could is if you recognized it and you freed yourself. Got to take a sip on that one. Mental abduction. What is mental abduction? My definition for that is when your body is there, but your mind has been hijacked. Your mind has been abducted. And you are, as I call it, locked in what I refer to as HLP mode. That's Henry L. Porter mode. Maybe it didn't happen to everyone. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it didn't happen to everyone. But I can speak for myself. As he would say to me, And he said to others, I am the almighty hand of God in your life. Let that sink in. For another human to say that to another human being, I am the almighty hand of God in your life. Of course, if I was an adult, if I witnessed a place like this or a person like that as an adult, I could possibly sift out the BS. But ladies and gentlemen, when you're born into something, it automatically makes it different. At least with my story, I see it that way. Another question that has been hanging around the ether that I've been asked, but look at all the lives that Henry Porter has touched. How do you reconcile that? How do you find yourself speaking against the man of God? Well, I liken the story of the lives that Henry Porter has touched with the commercial. You know, you've seen those pharmaceutical commercials where there are way more side effects than healing properties. It's like you get one thing patched up and then you develop leaks in all the other areas where there were no leaks before. Yeah, that's what happened to us. At least that's what happened to me. Another question that's been floating around is everyone has sinned. Everyone has committed some type of transgression. Why single this man out? Well, you are correct. Everyone has sinned, has made some sort of error, transgression, or whatever that may be. And I will say, if you are single, living in an adult life, heck yes, live your life, whatever that looks like to you. I would also add the caveat that we should advise or be advised or seek the counsel of our Creator, because our Creator made all of us. So He knows everything about us. But when you indiscriminately do these things to an undiscerning mind, you, whoever you are, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. Why, you may ask? Why am I wrong? Because it puts the perpetrator in a space where they feel invincible because they have gotten away with it so many times. And the victim is in a situation where they're uncomfortable in the mental space, not to mention that their human rights have been neglected. They've been challenged and they've also been disregarded. Neglected, challenged, and disregarded. And if you're a bishop, you're a pastor, or just an adult, you should know better than that. No one made him a bishop. He was self-appointed. Check it out. So if you're going to self-appoint yourself, then you have to cross every T and you have to dot every I. One of the statements I include often in my prayers: Lord, help me be bold in my convictions and truthful in my confessions. I never want to be in a place where I indiscriminately exact pain and hurt and confusion in someone else's life just so that I can get the better of them. To me, guys, when you continually do that for years, 50 years, with reckless abandon, you got to be called out. Come on, man. You got to be called out. So, back to my concept of comply, fight, or flight, or doing the mixture of the three. I can confidently say now that I'm number 2. Why? Because my roles have changed. When I was empowered by my Creator to stand in my truth, I believe in justice. I believe in equity, y'all. I've talked about it and sang about it in a lot of my original songs. It's one of the mantras that I live by. I'm not here to bash religion. I'm not here to bash, ministers or bishops. As I mentioned, I'm so happy now that God has put me in a space where He's brought me back to His house on a continual basis. I wasn't going to church for a very, very long time on a consistent basis between 2008 and really 2014. And I'm so happy that now I serve as a contracted singer on my church's worship team. And this church they encourage also community, and not to check your mind at the door by blindly following what the leader says. Yes, listen, but also allow Yeshua, our Christ, to convict your heart and not be pressured by the likes of man. The Creator made us. He made all of us. He's the ultimate source, not humans. It's our Creator. So, I'm glad He helped me and is continually helping me to make peace with my turbulent past and to see His grace even through my traumas. Hopefully I can help someone else by speaking out. Don't let nobody make you a hermit over something they did to you. It may not be molestation for you. It may be any type of abuse. But don't let no one make you suffer for what they did to you. Don't stand for it. And if you come to find out that you're not the only one, you certainly have to speak out. Talk to someone. Why? Because you're not alone. Henry Porter taught me a lot of things by communication and also by inference. For better and sometimes for worse, I could still hear his voice in my mind. Most times singing, because he had an amazing voice. He also had one of the best creative minds. That's why it's so astonishing to me. Why did he have to take this route? The route that he took. It breaks my heart. I remember him asking my mom, could I stay with him, with his wife, with his new wife at the time, who was my godmom, one particular night. And of course, my mom, being a single mom, had reservations at first, but she let me. And this is before I was even 5 years old. I literally slept between him and his wife before they had kids. It was a precious moment. My father would die in the U.S. Armed Services just a couple of years later. My beautiful single mom at the time was trying to do all that she could. She was doing her best. We believed in you, Henry Porter. We believed in you, Henry Porter. We believed in you. And I know countless others did too. And unfortunately, some still do. For their sakes, be honest, man. Be honest with them. It's obvious you have been struggling with this for a very long time. And as you always told us, to thine own self, be true. Be true to yourself. And that truth should spill over to us, where you're truthful with us. You still got a shot. You're still breathing. There's life in your body. But it's a tragic story. It's a tragic story because I feel sad for everyone involved. His kids, whom he birthed, they didn't deserve this. None of us did. We didn't ask for this. This was thrust upon us. And because now I know what happened, and I've accepted that it happened, I'm continually making peace with what happened, and with the understanding, and with this understanding, I should say, I'm convicted to step out of my comfort zone and to share and put myself on the line and help others, my other brothers and sisters who have been marginalized and taken for granted. And I'm also convicted to call out anyone who uses kids in any sort of sexual, emotional, physical, mental way where you tear down those, I won't say those, but the innocence that God, our Creator, blessed us with. And to replace that with confusion. Because I must say, out of everything that I felt through all of my traumas, the biggest thing has been confusion. Confusion. I knew who I was, but he set out to confuse me. And I hate that. I hate that with all my heart. So, it is my duty to come forward and to help somebody else. And that's what I'm doing. I'll end with this. Please be an ally for children. Even if they are adults now, sometimes the trauma isn't easily shaken from a child to adulthood, especially if the person never gave themselves permission to feel and to grieve the loss of the childhood innocence that they had. So, we all have to do the work, but let's give each other grace while the work is being done. God bless you all. It's all love here. Take care.